Welcome back to WRLWND Radio. I'm your co-host Johnathan Mansour, and today I'm here with Marcello Sukhdeo, and we're going to circle back to what Marcello spoke about last week on the show. And we'll start with the first topic, which is Apple's new MacBook Air release.
All right, well, thanks, Johnathan. Yeah, so the MacBook Air, that's new. There's quite a lot of different features that were added to this new version of the MacBook Air. The big thing for me would be the Retina display, and having that bright screen really makes a huge difference to the MacBook Air. Of course, it has the redefined keyboard as well. They call it the butterfly keyboard. Yeah. So that gives you that effect of typing rather than just typing going down. You have that balance of going back and forth whilst typing. So that's great as well. And they also have a larger trackpad that you can use, and you can press a little deeper to do a lot more with the MacBook Air. So some really cool features. I think there's the touch bar as well.
There's the Touch ID, and I guess my thoughts on it, like you said, I mean, they're really great features. They're actually features I have on my MacBook Pro, the 2018 model, which I love. But I guess that's where I sort of stumble on it a little bit. I guess my issue with it is that it doesn't really, it doesn't seem like that big of a change, because I have those features on my MacBook Pro 2018 model, and it almost seems like Apple just took a few features from the higher up model, threw it on the MacBook Air, and justified a $200 price increase by doing so. Now, I won't deny that they're nice features to have. I love, especially the Touch ID. I can get into my laptop simply by just putting my finger on the pad. I can pay for things by just a touch of a finger, and it's great. But I mean, does it justify a $200 increase?
Yeah, so that's a very good point. All of these features were already existing. They just brought it over, and then they took the price up by $200, as you've said. That's quite a lot of money to pay for the MacBook Air. If they had just kept that same price that they had before for the MacBook Air, this would be a great deal for people to get.
I agree, and it would be justified if Apple were to say, hey, we're coming up with something brand new, that's why we're charging a little bit more, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like that's the case. And I took a story from Business Insider, and this is actually just from today, and the headline is, hundreds of people have taken to Reddit to complain that Apple is nickel and diming them with its new products. And I think this is another example, and I'll just list off a few prices. Some of the prices, last year's entry-level new iPhone, which was the iPhone 8, which is the one I have currently, started at $699, and now the entry level for the iPhone XR costs $749. Apple's least expensive iPad Pro got a $150 price hike during its most recent refresh, from $649 to $799, and the Mac Mini used to start at $499, and as we heard in that new product release from Apple just recently in New York, that's now taking a jump up to $799, and take into account these are in U.S. dollars too. So when we're talking Canadian dollars, right, well, we're getting around $1,000 easy. And then there's the new MacBook Air model, which we just discussed, and actually that just went on sale yesterday, and it got a new display, design, and price, of course. $1,199, which is $200 more than before. So again, major price hike when you think about how many people are buying this product and the ultimate return that Apple's getting after $200 times however many hundreds of thousands of people are going to make this investment. But it does seem that Apple is really nickeling and diming their customers.
Yeah, that's right. And what we're seeing as well, that a lot of people are going back to the previous versions for all of these products. Like, people are buying up the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10. And even when there was a news release that came out earlier in the week, which states that they have decreased production of the iPhones, that's the latest iPhone, by 100,000 units per day. That's quite a lot of phones.
No, it is, yeah.
Yeah. So we can say that with the cutback that there is a problem, and that problem is the price, I think.
You know what? Even though, I mean, you touched on it last week, But even with Apple selling less iPhones, last quarter they did see a 20% increase in sales. But, I mean, like we're talking about, it's not because they're making more products. It's because they're, nickeling and diming their consumers to make up the loss. And going forward, what do you think this means for Apple?
Well, going forward, for me, it's concerning because since last year, they've started increasing the prices. Started with the iPhone. This year, we saw the increase for all of their products across the board. What's going to happen next year? I think they will keep adding more, keep increasing the prices. And now with that latest announcement about not disclosing the number of units sold, right? In that way, they're not held accountable in the public's eyes in terms of, okay, you have sold 100,000 units this month or this quarter. Next quarter, if you sold 120,000 units, you can tell, well, the company is doing really well and there's a demand for the product. But if that is not being disclosed any longer and the prices and the revenue is going up, it tells me that the price increase is really working for them. Yep. So they will keep increasing the prices. So I'm worried because by next year, can we afford to buy like the latest iPad?
That's exactly right. I mean, we even saw, because of that, Apple failing to disclose their previous quarter sales, their stocks actually dropped. A lot of investors are looking at that and they're saying, well, if you're going to withhold that information from us, well, do we really want to keep moving forward? But like you said, they've been raising their prices, but it does seem a little bit excessive when I go to the Apple store and I see a phone for $1,000, $1,300, and that's not including a case.
Right.
That's not including the screen protector. That's not even including the cell phone plan you have. That's not taking into account a lot of the things that just the additional expenses you'll incur from owning the phone in the first place. And it is concerning.
It is concerning. And the other point, too, we know that technology is advancing so fast and things are getting cheaper, not more expensive to make, because they're now making in large mass production. So it's getting cheaper or less costly. So why are you increasing at that rate?
That's right. Yeah. And from a business point of view, it seems to be yielding results.
Yeah.
But, with all increases, with the plateau and the climax, there's the inevitable downfall. And we don't know when or if that'll be, but we know that, at some point, people aren't going to... I highly doubt we're going to see the day where people are running out and spending $2,000 on a phone.
Yeah, and as we were talking about earlier, too, is this going to be the next BlackBerry? Are they going to end up like BlackBerry?
That's right. And you know what? I remember the time, I never owned a BlackBerry, but I do remember the time when everyone I knew had one.
Right.
And it was the phone to have. And, well, look at it today. It dropped off.
That's right. BlackBerry was 15 years ago. I was not here in Canada. I was in Guyana. And imagine a small country in South America. I've heard about the BlackBerry phone, and a lot of people were going after it. BlackBerry, when you talk about the phone, BlackBerry comes to mind. Today, it's the iPhone.
Where'd it go?
Tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah, we don't know.
Who knows? And I mean, that's just the trend of the market, right? Things don't last forever, and wherever there's an up, there's going to be a down. And of course, BlackBerry, they kind of found their niche in the market as far as security is concerned. So they were able to thankfully sustain themselves afterward. But who knows what we'll see with Apple. But I guess the one benefit that Apple has to fall back on is that although the iPhone is, in a lot of ways, their flagship product, they specialize in their computers. They have the iWatch, the Apple Watch, and a lot of other great products that a lot of producers, and me being a producer, video editor, and radio producer myself, it's excellent to have. I think it works flawlessly, and I'm very happy with it. But as far as the iPhone's concerned, we might be seeing the start of a dying age.
Yeah, that's very possible.
And just transitioning to our last story that we'll talk about today, and who knows where this will lead, but Amazon did strike a deal with Apple to sell new iPhones and iPads. And this sees Apple selling its products on Amazon. Now, Apple products have been available on Amazon in the past, but not from Apple directly. They've been from third-party retailers. So that meant that a lot of the prices were sometimes all over the place, or you couldn't really verify what you were getting. But It seems that both parties are happy with this, and perhaps this might be Apple's way to hopefully increase sales that they lost in the iPhones, especially coming up to the Black Friday time of year in just a couple weeks here.
I think it's what they're looking to do for sure. When you look back at as we talked about the production, that it's now cutting back on production, this is a way of getting to a larger market, I would say, for Apple through Amazon. And if you notice, they're listing the iPad, the iPhones, the watch, the Apple TV, the Mac computers, the Beats headphones. But the only thing that is not on that list is the HomePod. And of course, there's for a reason, right?
Yep.
Because that will be a direct competition with the Amazon's Echo lineup. So you could see that Amazon said, well, yeah, we can help you guys out here, but don't bring the HomePod, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a way of increasing sales for Apple, and they're trying. I think they're desperate. And
I get that feeling too from this headline and just reading some of the details. Yeah.
Right, and they want to try everything possible.
That's right.
Just to get there. Actually, I saw a news release last week, and they were predicting that this current quarter, Apple will have a revenue of $89 billion. Now, that caused some stir among analysts, and they were saying that was too low for this time of the year.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's right.
$89 billion, right? And that was too low. So I think Apple is trying everything they can just to reach that target that was set for this quarter. And as we talked about, we have to wait and see what's going to happen when the next quarter results has been disclosed.
Time will tell. And I mean, after the stocks did fall for Apple, and even 4 days ago, they did hit their biggest fall in quite some time as far as their shares are concerned. But they did lose the $1 trillion market cap valuation, so they still are the world's most valuable company at this point, but not worth $1 trillion. So we'll see if they can pick it up in the fourth quarter as we move into the Black Friday and Christmas season. And of course, that's when tech sales boom. Well, thank you for joining us today, Marcello, for the discussion.
Thanks, Johnathan. Nice talking to you.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of WRLWND Radio. If you'd like to stay up to date with all things tech-related, be sure to subscribe to our IT and Canada newsletter. That link will be in the description below. From all of us here at WRLWND, we want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.